I enjoy coming to work every day knowing that clients are depending on me to guide them through whatever financial needs they have.
Every client we have is different. And so it's really about finding out what's really the most important thing per client.
With financial planning, everything is interconnected. So a comprehensive plan means that you're taking care of income needs now, income needs in the intermediate term, and income needs long term. We'll do an asset cycle portfolio. We'll do a riskalyze test. We'll do a life insurance audit or a life insurance review.
And so when we build a deep relationship with our clients, then we can take a step back and then we can look at different options to help them specifically get to their goals. One of the things I feel our job is as advisors is to introduce strategies to clients that maybe they did not know that they were out there. But it's our idea, our job to come out and say, have you ever thought about this?
And the planning it's not always about income, but a lot of it is also about the legacy. So the element of family is very important to us, and it's important to our clients. Hello, this is Financially Speaking. I'm your host, Jeff Bush. I'm joined today by my partner and my colleague, Earl Schultz, formerly of Strategic Wealth Advisory. And Earl and I have been working closely together over the past year. And I wanted to bring him in today so that we could talk about strategies for investing in a volatile market. As we record this show in August of 23, we've had quite a turbulent year and a half. And I thought it would be good to bring Earl in today because Earl's had a lot of experience over the past 20 years or so in dealing with his clients in investing through volatile markets. So hello, Earl, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jeff. I am very pleased to be here with you today.
So Earl, we're in a very, would you say, volatile market, volatile stock market, volatile bond market?
Absolutely.
And you and I, in fact, have sat through many meetings where we've had these discussions with clients. And I thought it would be good if we just went through some of the things that we talk about in these meetings of some of the strategies that you and I have both used. The one thing that I like to tell our clients is don't panic. You know, we've been there before.
Right.
So why don't you just kind of expand on some of your experiences over your career in dealing with these types of markets?
Yeah, as you said, we've been there before, and one of the things I used to always point out to our clients in our market update emails was that the sky is never falling. We sometimes think it is because this goes on, and we just believe things will never recover, but they always do. We've had the year 2000, of course, people will remember. We've had the 9/11 incident. We've had the financial crisis, 2008, 2009. 2018, we had a big drop. And of course now, more recently, 2020 was from the pandemic. And of course now 2022. But we tend to forget about these as they occur. I've always had clients tell me that they don't think this will end, and I say, you won't even remember this after a short period of time. And people don't. They forget about it again. We go on with what we've been doing, and the plan continues to work.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I was thinking as you were talking about all these events that have happened. Everything this century, it seems like the turn of this century has been sort of a landmark of volatility in the market. And we always like to say this is not your father's stock market.
Right.
And along with that, it's really, really important to stick to the plan, right? So we go through processes of putting a financial plan together, and it's really important. So let's talk about that. When we meet initially with clients and we go through financial planning, what are some of the concepts? What are some of the things that we do to set our clients up to succeed in these types of markets?
Well, typically we use an asset cycle plan for most of our clients, and the idea behind that is that we have a job description for each and every account that we have within the plan. So we know what each account is designed to do, what is expected of it, and so forth. And we put those together so that some of our accounts will be for short-term income in the next maybe 5, 6, 7 years. Other accounts will be designated towards midterm income, a little longer. And then our more risky, those will be conservative, of course, our more risky accounts are on the back end of the plan, so that when the market goes down as it has recently, Jeff, we don't really have to worry about the client doesn't have to worry about it, because this is mostly affecting the long-term money. It's not really affecting the income so much that they're using currently for short-term.
Yeah, and I think too, along with that, the outcomes become more predictable when you're looking at a longer-term time horizon. So it's very, very difficult to predict what's going to happen this year or next year. But if we're looking at 7 years or 10 years or 15 years, I think that the outcome of these strategies become more predictable. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely, yes. The longer the time frame, the more predictable for sure.
Yeah. So let's dig into the asset cycle portfolio system a little bit. You mentioned that the beginning of it, and we're going to put that slide up on the screen so our viewers can look at what we mean when we talk about asset cycle portfolio. And I really like this slide because it's really financial planning on one page. But when we look at this, the lower left-hand quadrant, we see short-term income. So what would some of the strategies be for short-term income?
Well, we can use a number of different things, but basically, of course, because it's short-term, first and foremost, we want to make sure that it's safer, meaning that it's something that is not affected greatly by volatility of the market. So we'd be looking at bonds, various types of bonds, perhaps treasuries, even some cash, perhaps in there. Again, anything that's really not directly affected heavily by the stock market.
Okay, so we want little to no volatility in that quadrant so that we can give the other quadrants a chance to grow.
Right.
Exactly. And if you look at this slide, it actually unfolds where we're going to take income first from short-term income, and then we're going to progress. If we look at the upper left-hand quadrant, we're then going to look at midterm income. So that might be in year 6 or year 7 of the plan.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, what would be the types of strategies that we would put in there, like midterm income? What would be some of the things we'd look at?
Well, what I've always used, Jeff, is still perhaps some bonds, but maybe things that give you a little higher rate of return, such as maybe some high yield bonds. But even more so than that, I would go into some of the more conservative stocks, perhaps. Some growth and income type stocks could work in there very well. Things that are not very aggressive.
Yeah, and there, since we have, let's say we have a 7-year time horizon there, we do have a little bit of room for volatility because it's it's 7 years and it's not 1 year. So we can look at things that might have a little bit of ups and downs, but still we're going to get some chance for growth in there. Okay.
Yeah.
And then once we get into long-term income, when would long-term income kick in this model?
Typically, I've always thought to kick in after 10 years. Sometimes it's a little bit longer, but let's say year 11.
Okay.
Normally.
Okay. And what are some of the strategies that you look at when you're investing for long-term income?
Well, because of the fact that, if we recall, first of all, a full stock market cycle is considered to be typically about 7 years. Since we're beyond a full cycle there, we can usually go more into growth stocks. So we're looking for some of that, but we can also, now we haven't talked about annuities yet either. And annuities, in my mind, is a very, very important part of this whole asset cycle plan for income. And so since we're talking here about long-term income, I would definitely say, first and foremost, I want to have some annuities in there.
Yeah, and I think that's a good, I'm glad you said that, because it's really a good segue into what I feel is important investing in a volatile market, and that is building guarantees into a financial plan. And a lot of the annuity strategies that you've used have guarantees built into them. So let's talk a little bit about how you've used annuities and some of these guarantees that are inside of an annuity policy.
Yeah, sure. There are so many of them today. I mean, we could be as simple as a normal fixed annuity, which is going to give us a fixed interest rate guaranteed for some period of time. So there we have no risk. We typically have no fees and something like that. And we have, in other words, principal protection. But then in years after the fixed annuity, they came out with fixed index annuities, which I'm a huge fan of, because today's fixed index annuities can provide not only the stability that you need for a good portion of your portfolio, but principal protection, complete protection, and perhaps most important is they can provide you with guaranteed income. And the amount of income, Jeff, in some of these fixed annuities today is just phenomenal, the amount that you can turn on.
Yeah, I think that's one of the silver linings in this market that we're in currently, in that, we've seen interest rates go up significantly over the past 18 months. The Fed has raised interest rates, I don't know, I've lost track, probably
Yeah, me too.
9 or 10 times. But the silver lining there is it's made payout rates pretty attractive in some of these annuity products. And when we're designing these models and we're trying to plan for income, some of these tools inside of an annuity become very effective.
Right.
And I think the other point here is that when we have these conversations with our clients, and they sometimes are concerned about to have the right balance, if you will, right in a plan.
Right.
So I think that the strategy of putting together this plan is really instrumental in getting our clients, I know, through this difficult time that we're in. So I just want to take a step back and go through some of the things that we're doing here in our firm, and that is we've been in the news. So over the last year or so, we've been doing some interviews in the market, whether it's on TV or whether it's on radio. But you'll see there that I've been featured in the USA Today, interviewed in the U.S. News and World Report. Our colleagues Steve and Shannon have been featured in Kiplinger and Proactive Advisor magazine. So there's really a lot of things that we've been doing to get the information out there. And a lot of these articles center on some of the topics that we're talking about today. And if you want to reference any of those, you can look at you can look at them on our website, which is informedfamily.com, or you can contact us. So we're going to put our contact information up on the screen too. So you can email us at info@informedfamily.com, or you'll see our phone numbers up there on the screen. So over the past year, since our firm has merged with your firm, Earl, we now have 4 different offices. So we have the office right here in Pottstown where we're recording this show today, which is right on the corner of High and Hanover Street. And then we have a location in Trooper right outside of Norristown. And then we also have an office in Birdsboro, which is right outside of Reading, and then an office in Allentown. So we've got 4 different locations, which keeps us busy, Earl. We seem to be in a different location every day, but at the same time, it gives the people that we work with a convenient way to see us. So anyway, we're talking with Earl Schultz today. Earl is a financial consultant with our firm. He's formerly the founder and president of Strategic Wealth Advisory. So Earl, how important is the communication aspect when we're going through a volatile market?
Oh, that's a key item, really. Communication is more important even when we have a volatile market, I believe, than it is when things are going along great. When clients see the market just going up, up, and up, and they realize their portfolios are gaining, they don't really care so much about having to talk to someone. But when fear strikes because the market's going down, that's when they want to hear from someone. And I've seen on more than one occasion studies that show that clients who are unhappy with or leave their advisors, mostly it's because of a lack of communication, especially in down markets. Yeah. They're concerned because they're not getting callbacks. They're not, nobody's being proactive to find out how they're feeling about this and help them through it.
Yeah. They might feel like they're being ignored.
Absolutely.
Or they're not important. Or
that's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think your philosophy on that is very similar to my philosophy on that, and that is that the communication is important. I know we have our whole model, our whole office model set up so that we have this regular communication. Whether it's email communication, telephone calls, face-to-face meetings in our office. The communication aspect of it is very important because oftentimes, we put these plans together and we've talked today about the asset cycle portfolio, but I think it's important too to reinforce that model with the people that we work with, our clients, because sometimes you can get away from the basics of what you did.
Right.
And some of these plans were put together several years ago. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We both have clients that we've been working with probably 20 years or so.
Right.
A long time. So with all that being said, we think it's important to be proactive in a volatile market. We can't stress enough the importance of financial planning, and also, working with a competent advisor, whether it's someone on our team or someone else. You want to make sure that the person that you're working with is really paying attention to you. And the other thing that I think is really important is working and operating in a fiduciary capacity.
Yes.
So why don't we talk a little bit about that, Earl? Because
Okay.
we see that term thrown around a lot, and sometimes people don't really understand what that means.
Right. Well, originally in this business, we heard more about suitability, so that when we were putting together a plan and using various financial products for clients, those products had to be suitable for the client, but they didn't have to necessarily be in the best interest of the client. And that led to problems through the years with some firms. And so they came out with the fiduciary rules, which now says that as fiduciaries in this office, we are required to always act in the best interest of the client. Not providing something that's just suitable, but something that is really what is best for that particular client. Something that can be defended, and we can show the regulators, if need be, why we chose this particular strategy or course of action, why it is the best for the client.
Yeah, and I think too, along with that, I think the fact that we both act as independent financial advisors, it allows us to fill that fiduciary capacity, because when let's say we're putting a plan together, we're putting an asset cycle portfolio model together, it's our job and our responsibility to put these products and these recommendations to our clients that are in their best interest. And because we're independent, we can go to any one of a number of different companies, any one of a number of different, whether it's an insurance company or whether it's it's another strategy. We have access to a lot.
Right.
The independent part of it, I think, is really important here, in that we can act in that fiduciary capacity.
Yeah, it's nice to know that we're not beholden to any specific company, that we're trying to appease them with the amount of business, et cetera, but rather just looking first and foremost at what is best for the client, then going out and finding that wherever that may be.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, the defending that has really become an important part of our job. When we're making a recommendation to a client, we have to sort of document to our back office, the people that are reviewing our work, and say, okay, we recommended product A, but we also looked at products B and C and D, and we chose product A because of these features.
Right.
And
Right.
that's what makes the whole best interest of the client. So we want to also put out there today that if you're interested in a complimentary review or a second opinion, that's all part of what we're doing here. So you can reach out to us either by phone or by email. If you want to sit down with us in any one of our offices, we'd be happy to give you a second opinion. Maybe you have some questions for us walking through the volatile market that we're in. Okay. Now, I want to talk a little bit about our new program, which is the Retirement Design Lab, or RDL. So the Retirement Design Lab is a program that we're using to go out into the public and do a three-part program that we are, it's an educational format. It's an educational setting, and we go through a workbook. It's almost like going back to school. So we have 3 separate nights where the first 2 nights are in a classroom, and then the third meeting is really a follow-up session in our office where we speak specifically about your own specific situation. So we're going to be doing those events coming up. We're going to put the dates up on the screen. We're going to be in the Lower Providence Library coming up on September 13th and September 20th. So the Retirement Design Lab is really an opportunity for you to come and learn more about your own specific retirement. It kind of walks you through your desires and your goals and how you define your retirement. Because retirement is different for everybody. And Earl, you've worked with many people. You've helped many clients retire. over
Yeah.
the years.
Absolutely.
And what's your overall observation of what that process? What has that meant to you, helping your clients retire over the course of your career?
Oh, that's definitely the most fulfilling part of this profession, I believe. Sharing in the successes that people have and knowing that you helped keep them on track, you helped walk them through the difficult times, and to see them to be able to retire and then to be able to stay retired and have the income that they wanted to have, enjoy the life they wanted to have. That's exciting, and I believe almost any advisor that does full planning can say that's what keeps you getting up in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. I would say that is the most fulfilling part is putting a plan together, executing the plan, and then just allowing the people that we work with to retire in the manner that they want to, because retirement means so many different things to so many different people.
Sure.
Some people like to continue to work part-time and they retire. Some people like to travel a lot. Some people like to do volunteer work. So it's really a unique experience for everybody, and we treat it that way. So, Earl, I want to thank you for spending some time with us here today on Financially Speaking. It was good to talk about some of the concepts that we put into play in our practice, and specifically how we invest in a volatile market. So we're going to be signing off. This is another episode of Financially Speaking.